Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with What's a Rolfie, Anki, Fireman 1231, JDB Cubed, and Fireman Freddy. Let's get to the show. All right, everybody, welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast. This podcast is going to be a virtual firehouse kitchen table. It's kind of a space that we can talk about what's popular, what's going on in fire departments across America. We've got 5 firefighters from all over the country. And this episode right here, what we're going to do is we're going to let you know who we are and why we're here. So we're going to start off with Mr. Fireman 1231, Nick Hammond. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Hey, Nick, wait, before you start. Freddie, you said this is a space. Is this a safe space?
It's a very safe space.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
It's a safe space.
Freddie, you can't do that. It's been slow at the house. Good. Well, partially it's my fault. I keep falling asleep before it happens. My name is Nick. I'm a fireman here in Eastern North Carolina. I started the fire department when I was 16 as a junior at a good old volunteer fire station. I fell in love with it. I tried the college route, and I was sitting in college algebra, and basically for the second time I was sitting in college algebra because I failed the first time, and I'm just sitting there looking, and I was getting frustrated, and I just picked my books up and threw them down. Walked straight to my advisor's office. I said, I quit. I'm going to work. And started working at the fire department the next week. So fast forward, worked full time at a small volunteer station, Grays Creek. I enjoyed every second of it. That's where I got my start. Then I got called to the show. I got called to the big city. And I've been there since 2014. So I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 28. Coming up on 9 years. I almost ran out of fingers. I'm assigned to the state hazmat team. You know, we're a regional response team. So we cover not just the city of Fayetteville, and we also cover surrounding counties.
So you mess with the methyl ethyl bad shit.
You know, when people think hazmat, that's the first thing they think of. Very rarely do we do that. You know as well as I do. Y'all have been in the business. It's gas leaks, COs, overturned tankers. That's our bread and butter. Clamping gas lines. Yeah. We did have an ammonia leak call at Smithfield packing plant. Everybody knows Smithfield, the pork distribution. Yeah, we had an ammonia leak. We got there. We got the call at 1 o'clock in the morning, got there at 3 a.m. and we left at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a long night. Ooh. Yeah. With no coffee. None.
Oh my goodness.
All we had was go ahead.
So tell us a little bit about why you joined the podcast and why you think it's going to be great.
You know, I joined this podcast because, you know, I like to share my journey about my job with everybody. And I feel like, you know, this podcast, while it's entertaining, but it's also very informative. And we'll go over stuff that they don't teach you in like a classroom or the field or in fire academy. You know, there's street smarts too involved. And it's good. And I like to share my experiences, and, you know, because we all come from, you know, we're all from different states. We got the north, and then we got all the way to the West Coast out there in California way. So, I mean, there's all these different fire department. The culture of the fire department is the same, but the way we do things, everybody's different as far as execution and strategies or policies and procedures.
Sounds like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like you're from the north.
So you're in Westeros.
Which house do you represent?
Yeah, I'm on the wall. Part of the Night's Watch.
Yes, Freddy's the founder of the Night's Watch.
I have dragons. Nick, you got any hobbies of note that are interesting?
Well, I've started. I like to cook.
Pause for
I do like
effect.
to that. I'm pretty boring.
I
I'm
do.
trying to
Look-
get back into.
It looks like you like to eat too.
I do. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I didn't get this body from not eating. I ain't
That
skipping
didn't
no
happen by
meals.
accident.
But I'm trying to get back into hunting, and I love fishing. God Almighty, I could fish for hours or days if my wife would let me, but she would let me. But we have so much going on as far as just with Cub Scouts and redoing our house, and she's been working her butt off with the bathroom. She finally got it remodeled. I just did some of the labor. I didn't do all of it. She did majority of the work. But
And the baby.
yeah, we had a newborn who his sleep is the last thing on his mind.
Well, good stuff. Next, we're gonna jump over to what's a Rolfie, Matt Rolfie. Tell us a little bit about you, sir.
Well, I live in California, grew up in Orange County, and been a fireman's for 10 years, almost 10 years. Started kind of the same way Nick did, to be honest. Didn't like school. I've always hated school. Stayed in school for sports. Failed the same algebra class. We're probably in the same class. We just didn't know it. And both failed. And, he went one way, I went the other way. But yeah, I started out as a volunteer with the county and was there for a few years, worked on the ambulance at the same time. Went to the fire academy, put myself through paramedic school. And that all took about 7-8 years, getting paid minimum wage and working 72 hours on the box, and then helping out the fire academy as much as I could. And so, yeah, that was good. And then got hired with my current department and been there about 10 years. I'm an engineer on an engine. We don't have any trucks. We're a small 4-station department, and we serve about 24,000 people. And we got a lot of wildland. It's kind of intermix. So we're pretty big. And anybody that is watching this probably knows California firefighters deal a lot with wildland fires. So we're pretty heavily inundated. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in other podcasts. But yeah, live in California and have a family. I got 3 kids, 9, 7, and 4 at the moment until they have another birthday. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Anything crazy you do outside of the fire department?
Anything crazy I do outside of, well, I try to do sports as much as I can, but with 3 kids, my kids are in competitive sports. The boy number 1 does baseball, number 2 does gymnastics, and then number 3 will get into something here pretty soon. So they pretty much take up my entire life, with the kids and everything else. So, but try to get out and do some men's league softball.
Oh,
but the last time I did that, I found out real quick that I'm not 21 anymore and pulled a hammy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah, you get a better stretcher regimen.
Stretching's for the birds. At least so I thought.
Or the young.
You ever seen a cheetah stretch before it chases an antelope? No.
Hell yeah. Puma.
All right, good stuff. We're going to jump over to JDB Cubed. I said it right this time.
Yeah.
Mr. Doug Bishop. Tell us about yourself, buddy.
Hey, it happens all the time. First off, the username. I get a lot of questions about that. I'm a third. I know you guys hate math. I hate math. But when I made a Twitter 12, 15, whatever, how many years ago,
Tweeter.
I'm James Douglas Bishop III. So I put JDB Cubed, and that's what my usernames have been on all my platforms since I started making Twitter. But anyway, 43 years old. I live in Central Virginia. Happily married to the love of my life. I've got 2 kids. I got a 17-year-old son who's getting ready to be 18 in March. Ugh. And getting ready to have a graduate. And my daughter will be 15 in July. Excuse me. I've been a fireman for almost 9 years now. I started in the correctional world. Again, college really wasn't my thing. It wasn't for me. Like Matt, I went to school to play baseball. Kind of what I did in high school. So Didn't really like the college route. Started working in the correctional system as a correctional officer because it was a decent job in the small town where I was from. I worked for a private company, traveled around the country. I went from Virginia to Tennessee to Colorado to Idaho, then came back to Virginia. Worked for the state for a while here, and then started working for the fire service in 2014. A lot of my buddies from back home work for my department. I think we're the second largest department in the state behind Fairfax. We have 21 full-time fire stations. We serve a county of about 400,000-ish. We run about 50,000 calls a year for service for various things. So we're a pretty busy department. I'm assigned to an engine at a dual company house. I have a truck, a tower at my station. We have 3 sticks and 2 platforms. I'm pretty sure that's how we are. We have 6 trucks now. Sorry. So we have 3 and 3. But anyway, free time, try to play a lot of golf. I coach my daughter's 14U softball team in 10 City Fast Pitch. We'll be moving up to 16U in this fall, excuse me. Other than that, man, we just moved into a new house. We built a house and moved in December the 1st on 10 acres. So there's a farm across the street that my wife and daughter walk over to every morning. They walk over there, and the horse and a few cows and a few little miniature donkeys come running over because they know they got treats for them. So we're going to have us a little farm here. We rescue dogs. We love dogs. We fostered over 20 dogs. We have 4 rescues right now. So we're big into dogs. So we may end up, maybe building a kennel, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Make use of this 10 acres.
Nice.
Donkeys give the best hugs.
Yeah. I give the best hugs.
You're a donkey.
That is true.
My wife calls me a jackass a lot.
You're amongst friends.
Yeah.
All right.
Boom.
Thanks, Doug. Up next, we are going to have the man himself, Anki, everybody's uncle, everybody's favorite uncle, Anki, Mr. Adam McCoy, CEO and founder of Anki Seasoning. Tell us about yourself, bud.
All right. I'm Anki from Anki Seasonings. I've been a firefighter for 19 years, and my first 3 years was with the city of Chesapeake as a volunteer, and then now I'm a civilian firefighter for the Department of the Navy. I've been doing that for, let me do the math. Yeah, just over 16 years, coming up on 17 years for the Department of the Navy, and I love it. I come from a long line of first responders. My great-grandfather ran rescue and in a small town called Deep Creek in Chesapeake, Virginia. Then my grandfather, he's the oldest of 9 siblings, and he was a Norfolk County patrolman for the city of Chesapeake was formed. So he did that. And then the city of Chesapeake got formed. He was badge number 8 for the police department. His baby sister married a police officer. All his other brothers ran rescue. Then he had 2 boys, my uncle and my dad. They were both volunteers. And my father went into the federal government. And my uncle was a city firefighter, city cop. Then he went to the federal government, following my dad. And then I eventually joined in after high school, went with the federal government. And 10 years later, my brother joined. He went to the city of Chesapeake. And the coolest part of our little legacy in Deep Creek is that firehouse my brother just got promoted to as an officer a year ago. That firehouse I've done time in, my father's done time in, my uncle and all of our great uncles ran out of that physical house, has not changed. And they're talking about in a couple of years building that new station for them. So this is the same.
Cool.
Oh, it's so awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So
that legacy.
I never want to be a firefighter. That's why I tell everybody. I never cared for it. I have no interest in it. We'll put it that way. I worked in radio and throughout high school and my college years. And I worked at a school radio station, became an operations manager for them. Then I did some work downtown for a commercial radio station for about 2 years. And right out of high school, as an operation manager, one of my old friends from high school came up to me and said, "Hey, I thought we were going to join the volunteers together." I was like, I don't remember saying that. Maybe it was a night of party and I don't know. So I was like, sure, man, I'll join the volunteers with you. And at the time, the city's paid, so there was only a handful of volunteers. And we actually had the only fireboat. It was bought and paid by the volunteers. So we had a truck that was ours. And so that was cool. So I went to a volunteer academy in a local city. Within 2 weeks, man, I was like, man, I actually like this. You get to get to make people's bad day better. You get to break their stuff, and you get to play with water. I was like, I'm in. Sign me up for this. And that's why I started my journey. You know, at that time, fire departments only hired like every 4 to 7 years. And it just eventually came up after about 3 years being a volunteer. The city was hiring, and so was the federal government. And the federal government picked me up first. And I went with them, worked at the world's largest naval base for about 5-6 years. And then I got transferred to my current location. And I absolutely love it. I got a good group of guys. I'm in a single engine house. We cross staff an ambulance. And what I'm looking to get out of this podcast, I'm bringing to you the federal government side. What I can bring to you. We do things different than a lot of you.
Classified.
Yes.
How many? Do you have any classified documents in your garage by chance?
No.
Next to a Corvette,
I don't even have a garage. So put it that way.
hypothetically.
Oh yeah. Hypothetically. But yeah, so I can bring the federal side to it, but what I can bring to it, we do things a lot differently. We deal with ammunitions, ships, airplanes, all kinds of other things that we deal with. So I bring that to the table, but I'm really here to learn from you guys, because we talked about the cool fireman and who he is. None of us are the cool fireman. We all aspire to be him. That's be it somebody that you've seen on scene, around the firehouse or outside the firehouse. Yeah, that one person that you're like, man, I would love to be him. So just kind of bring my experience to the table and learn from y'all. Y'all actually already been inspiring to me through our text messages and everything. So that's what I got.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And you also started up a little seasoning company, Anki Seasoning. I'm sure we're going to get into a lot more of that later, but give me a brief little intro to what Anki Seasoning is.
Okay. Well, I can't believe I actually forgot to talk about it. Anki Seasoning. Anki Seasonings is my seasoning business. I started about in 2020. So that's probably at the end of the first year of our pandemic. And about that time frame, I broke my foot, and I was dealing with a lot of stuff, mental health and everything. So basically I was sobering up, dealing with that. So I kept my hands busy by creating this company. I've always loved dealing with food. I mean, look at me. I'm a big guy, love food. And I just started making some seasonings, and family and friends said, you should sell this and that and other thing. And so kind of just started the business that way.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you for that, which I guess it leaves it to me last and maybe least. So I'm Fireman Freddy. It's not hard to find my regular name, Brent Frederick. Born and raised in Michigan, suburb of Detroit. Not born and raised in South Detroit like Journey will lead you to believe, but just outside of Detroit. As a young kid, played a lot of sports. I started working as a lifeguard at the age of 14 for a local pool, and that's kind of where the bug bit me a little bit into the like first responder type career path, if you will. After that, I went to college, started in business. My dad's a very successful salesperson, marketer for print and digital media. Wasn't for me, didn't really like it. Actually ended up switching over to education. My mom was a teacher, so I thought, hey, I'm switch over. Maybe I'll be a teacher. I used to teach swim lessons. Thought maybe that was my path. Didn't like it, didn't feel it. So had a long, honest sit down with my parents, and I was like, listen, I'm not having fun. I'm not liking this. This isn't for me. I'd like to go to paramedic school. I was living in Kalamazoo at the time, over on the west side of the state. I said, I'd really like to go to paramedic school. There's a community college out here that I can get accepted to. So I went through, did my paramedic, got hired by an ambulance company out there, fell in love with it. My first shift that I was working was 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., which a lot of people would be like, ugh, but it was great. It was great. You get the rush hour traffic on the way home. We had a freeway in our district, so you had some crashes. It was in the city of Battle Creek, so we had everything from cardiac arrest, gunshot, overdose, kind of ran the whole gambit there. In 2008, I had the opportunity to get into the fire academy over here on the east side of Michigan, back where I live. Went in there, got through. When I got out of the fire academy, they pretty much told you it's going to be 2 years before you get hired onto a fire department. There is 1,500 people and there is 6 jobs, and it's just the way it is. So worked for an ambulance company over here on the east side of the state for about 22 months. And that's when I got hired onto my first department in 2010. I was with them for 11 years. I had a great time, made some great friends, learned a lot. It was my first fire job. I am the first responder in my family. I've kind of broken the mold, and I've had a lot of fun on my first department. Learned a lot of things, gained a lot of knowledge. Just this past year, in 2021, made a very hard decision, and I left my first department and joined a second department. And this department is it's great. They do a lot of training. We have more apparatus, more personnel. Each department has their great things, and both departments are great in their own respect. I wouldn't trade one for the other, but where I'm at now, I really appreciate it. I will say that out of this podcast, I think the best part about it is when you get into a kitchen at a fire department and you sit around the table and you have a cup of coffee. We do believe that we're going to solve the world's problems, that we are going to fix we're going to fix that NFL team that can't seem to get wins. We're going to fix politics.
Lions.
Hey, 9-8.
Hey, that's
My Lions are killing it.
Everything Detroit.
We can pretty much solve any problem sitting around that kitchen table. And we really all agreed, this group of 5, that it'd be really great to begin some type of virtual kitchen table where we can take topics that are in the world or within our own fire departments, bring them up, kind of hash them out. We'd love anybody who's listening or watching this on YouTube. If you have topics, you can hit us up, send us a message. Hey, what do you guys think about this? And we'd love to solve all your problems here on this 30 to 40 minute podcast. And that, whatever we decide is gold. So if you give us a topic, we're going to solve it. And that's what you have to do. I'm kidding. But outside of that, we're going to have a blast on this podcast. I think we're all dedicated to making sure that we have a great time doing it, and we're going to put out great content for everybody who's listening. We appreciate you guys listening. So every week, what we're going to do when we end each podcast is we're going to tell you guys a recipe. Each week we're going to have a different host. One of the 5 of us is going to host each week. And at the end of our topic, we're going to bring up a recipe that maybe was made in our firehouse that week or something that we really like to make. And then we're going to finish it off with a rookie tip. And then we're going to sign off. So today, since I'm the host, I'm going to do a recipe that I really like making. It's very easy to pull together if for some reason you're really busy that day. But we call them Greek protein bowls. So basically think of a Greek salad minus the lettuce. You're going to make a pot of rice, a couple scoops of rice, some chicken, some beets, banana peppers, and some cucumbers, a little bit of Greek dressing, some feta cheese. It's amazing. Tastes great. And the best part is you can put as little or as much of the ingredients into it as you want. So there's my recipe for the week.
That sounds
Greek-
good.
Greek protein bowls. Try it. And with all of these recipes, oh my gosh, Doc went flying.
Oh my God.
Did he break?
Oh snap!
He's pushing up daisies.
Oh no.
With all of these recipes, make sure to check out. We have a website. We're going to be putting all the recipes that we share, all the rookie tips that we share up on that website, so everybody can reference them later. This week's rookie tip is going to come from Mr. Doug Bishop. What do you got for me, bud?
Get him, Doug.
What, Nick?
No, I was pointing to you. Like, go get him.
Oh, sorry. So, we're going to talk next week about a couple things that I'm going to kind of preface now with. When you're a rookie in the Firehouse, you got a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things you need, a lot of boxes you need to check. But what you really need to get started on is you need to learn your district. You need to learn the streets. You need to learn the ins and outs of where is this apartment complex? How do I get there? What's the cross street? Can you get in the ballpark without the officer having to tell you where to go when you start driving? That's a huge help to anybody riding the front seat of, look, hey, boss, I know where I'm going. I got a ballpark idea. Find the water, find whatever you need, okay? In addition to that, know what to put on as far as your turnout gear for each call type. Are we going to a structure fire? Are we going to a vehicle fire? Are we going to gas leak, a cut job? Are we going to a medical? What are we going to and what do I need to wear? Have your PPE squared away to and know what you need to wear, when you need to wear it. If you don't know, like any good rookie, you need to ask. All right. That's all I got. Freddie, you want to take us home?
All right. Thanks for that rookie tip there, Doug. Looks like it's about time for a shift change, fellas. So make sure you do your pass-off reports, finish up your paperwork, and we'll see you next time.
Stay cool.